guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs and welcome to another instalment of team previews. We have Oisin McLaughlin from Harps today and we've Sean Lean from Waterford. Alright guys, you well?
Oh good.
Good stuff. Now Oisin, tell us about your music before we get into it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I'm a 19-year-old DJ and producer from Muff, County Donegal, and I've played the likes of Electric Picnic and the Three Arena. And I just released a track in 2020, and it's had some success and BBC Radio 1 and iRadio and RT2 FM, so enjoying it so far.
It's not bad, not so bad. What's your DJ name?
Oshbosh, so OISBOSH. Started back in 2016, and we're moving up.
It's a whirlwind 3 years for you, so 3 years, more than that actually. 2016, nearly 5 years, I suppose now at this stage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fair play to you. No, that's great. On to Harps, I suppose, and obviously Harps finished strongly last season, and arguably kept their best players. How confident are you ahead of this 2021 season?
Yeah, well, compared to the past few seasons, I've been more confident coming into this season. It's just promising. Like towards the end of last season, last 10 games, whatever it was, Harps kind of picked up a run of form. Wins against Pats and Bows and Waterford, that 3-2-1 down in the RSC, and it was very very, very promising end of the season. So kind of hoping Harps now kind of build on that for the upcoming season, and they've kept the core of the squad really, to be honest, and it's just hopefully now I'm kind of looking forward to it now and see how we get on. I'd like to see them build on last year's efforts towards the end season.
Yeah, it was vital they kept the likes of Siddiqui, wasn't it, Webster at the back, the back in the knees in the middle of the park, and players like that. Mark Russell signed on as well. We weren't sure if he was going to sign on or not, so they're important players for Harps, and to keep them was huge. Webster nearly had offers as well, so to keep him was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Webster, very, very good player. Him and Siddiqui, so you have that kind of centre-back partnership back, for 2020, and you've also, as a new signing, Ethan Boyle, he's slotted in a right back, and Mark Russell on the left. It's looking good. It's only Harps' problems always kind of scoring goals. We don't score too many goals, so we have boosted some, with new signings up front, but I mean, at the back, we've always it's good. We have good strength and depth at the back.
Yeah, Sean, it's been a messy transfer window for Waterford. You could argue as usual in many ways, but a lot of players came in late, which is a problem. But they lost a lot of key players, didn't they, last season? Like, they brought in a lot of good players, and then they lost them. What do you make of it in general?
It's very frustrating every season, basically, to be knocking down every bit of hard work basically that you've done. I was keeping a tally. We had 27 players over the course of the last season in total, and of those 9 are back, so like literally just a third of the squad. And when you look at where the players are going, it's one thing if you're losing players to England, but we're seeing players go to other Irish clubs, Matty Smith and Sam Bowen to Pats, and Ali Coote and Tyreek Wilson to Bows. So to me that's an indication that they probably would have stayed if we'd have given them a better offer. And I have to wonder what Lee Power is thinking, with surely it's not that much cheaper to bring in players from overseas that are, let's be fair, not as good as what we're having now. It's not looking very good ahead of this season. We're going to struggle to stay up. So, the transfer policy needs to change.
Is that the way you see it, to be honest? Like, you genuinely think it'll be a struggle to stay up?
It will. Like, I think we have a few talented players, but just going off the performances this pre-season, it doesn't look like we're up to the standard of the other teams. Like, it could change with a couple of games. We get gelled together. Maybe the players will settle in and show their real potential. But other squads have been set in for 2 and 3 seasons now at this stage, and it's going to be very difficult to get results.
Yeah, it's funny because we actually spoke how Harps have kept the core of their players. Waterford haven't done that at all. In fairness, the players have kept generally are the youth academy players.
It's funny actually, even though we say that, we've kept more players than we usually do. Even but we kept 9 players. But yeah, I've been saying that a lot of players we've brought in from England haven't been, too impressive, set the world on fire. But to be fair, we've kept good young players, and, we need to use our youth academy because it's one of our biggest strengths. And with players like Shane Griffin and Tamise Sobowale, we have Premier Division quality players, I think, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can, move on, because I think they're good enough as they are. But if they can move on, maybe towards the middle of the season, we're talking about, maybe staying mid-table, because we've got a good management team, to get the most out of young players. And I think it was exciting when we heard that Kevin Sheedy and Mike Newell were going to be coming over. So I'm hoping they can get the most out of those players, and that maybe by mid-season I won't be so negative.
Yeah, you never know. Speaking of academy players, O'Shane, do you see Stephen Doherty making a bit of an impact in Harps, possibly in 2021?
Yeah, well, he's been in the first team squad now for I think two or three seasons, and he's kind of been, in and out. He's made a few appearances, and I think he started in the cup matches, League Cup, and that. It'd be good to see him get an opportunity this year. It's kind of make a break point. He's getting to that age where if he doesn't get to pick up games and appearances and stuff, he might look his options elsewhere. So yeah, personally speaking, I'd like to see him and some of the other young lads, who came through the academy from under 17s, and hoping to see them maybe even make a few appearances off the bench, or even cup matches if Harps aren't aiming to go on a cup run, play them, start them in cup matches, and give them that experience, in the Premier Division, and they can only thrive from that.
You'd like to think as well in the long season they've a better opportunity of doing so. It was difficult last season for the likes of Footy, because obviously Harps finished strongly, so they wouldn't have been wanting to change the team much. No. And you only had 18 matches essentially, so this season's a little different because it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint, isn't it? Yeah,
100%. A long season makes a difference. Yeah, to last season. So yeah, we'll have to see how they get on, but I'm sure Ollie won't be too hesitant to use them, because they've proved it in the underage. The under 17s won a title there, All-Ireland title there a few years ago. So, and they're the same players that are coming through. So, the potential is there. They just have to be given the opportunity.
Absolutely. Sean, back to the signings for Waterford. You sounded a little bit negative on the players generally that have come in, but are there any players that you would kind of look at and say, okay, he looks a good signing?
Yeah, there's a few actually. I think even though I've been negative on the signings, it's more to do with their pedigree, I would hope. And I'm certainly, if they wanted to, if they do improve, I'll be happy to say I was wrong about them. But one player in particular I've been very interested in is James Waite. He's on loan from Cardiff, and I'm not sure whether it's a 6-month deal or for the full League of Ireland season. But he's looked very good, and what I've heard about him, he was on loan at some lower League England club, and he scored a very good amount of goals. I think it was something like 10 goals in 22 games, which is good for a winger. And from the performances I've seen, he looks like he gives us that attacking edge. He cuts inside, and he could be what we need, because goals could be a problem. That we haven't signed very many forwards so far. I hope there's one or two more to come in, but he's good. And there's another player I'm thinking of now, Jamie Maskell. That's another one. He could be here for the season now. He's on loan from Bolton. He's here for 6 months, but his contract is up then, and the word is that his time at Bolton is up, so he could be playing for another contract here. And he played quite well against Wexford, I thought. Now, he didn't play in any of the other games, but he was able to cross quite well, I thought. He offered us a bit going forward, and he stopped the goal. But one thing I will say about the players we brought in is that they're definitely, the attitude seems to be right, There's no one who's sort of dragging their heels or anything like that. And, I wouldn't have anything against any of them, and I hope that, I'll get to appreciate them more, and that, like as I said, prove me wrong.
I suppose the worry, I suppose, for Waterford is it's a bit like Cork City in many ways last season. They looked like a very young squad. I know they've the two Murphys, but apart from that, it's an extremely young squad, isn't it? That could be an issue.
It could be, yeah, and especially, in the second half of the season, after the restart, we had Robbie Weir in midfield, and he was huge for us, because he offered that composure that, maybe the younger, more inexperienced players wouldn't have. And it's funny, you mentioned the two Murphys, particularly Brian Murphy. He brings a lot to the back four. Like, you see the difference when we had, I think it was Ty Ryan in last season. Like he didn't have the experience, and especially playing at his level, like, he offers so much. And it'll be interesting, Daryl, I'm interested to see. It's kind of worrying that we haven't seen him in preseason, but I was very hopeful that we would see him because he was coming off an injury there towards the end of last season, and maybe back at full strength, he'll offer a lot more to the squad. So, be interesting to see.
Oisin, key signings for Finn Harps. Who do you like?
Yeah, Ethan Boyd, great to get him back. He went off to Rovers after he was with us in 2018, and then won the FA Cup, and then he went off to Linfield, and he's back with us. He's very good in the air, very solid defender. So he's back. Will Seymour as well is a key one too. I'm surprised Sligo let him go. It was half decent last year at the showgrounds. He'll be slotted into the midfield. I'd say he'll be a starter this year. Connor Barry from Galway United, wouldn't know much about him myself, but we'll see how he gets on. And with Ryan Rainey as well coming in from the Ulster Senior League. He'll see how he gets on. Hopefully he'll get some minutes under his belt. And then up front, then we have Tunde, Owalabi, come from FC United of Manchester. He has a good record, goal scoring record, 35 goals in 41 appearances. Now that's good saying, but we don't know what level he's playing at. We don't know, what type of. I think it could be fifth or sixth tier in England. But yeah, if he's fast, he said he's fast. He says he's a goal scorer. He's looking to rediscover his form in the League of Ireland, and we'll see how he gets on. And then we have Luke Nicholas as well coming in from Sligo, a young keeper. So yeah, he'll be a backup to McGinley, and it'll provide some competition in that rank.
Another one, you also have Adam Foley now for the whole season, and he came in. He was strong near the back end of the season. So if he gets another full season now behind him, that could be huge. And would have more goals with Foley and the new guy there as well. So
yeah, that's it. Like, and Foley came in, as you said, towards the end of the season, they scored, I think it was like 3 goals. At the end of the season.
One of those was against us.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of them was against Pats as well.
That was great to get him at the end of the season now, and he can helped us. He can inspire us to avoid the playoff. So you'll have some options up front now with Tunde, Owalabi, and it'll be interesting to see how we get on. I'd say we have a better chance of scoring more goals this season than we have in the past.
Yeah, 100%. Sean, strengths and weaknesses for Waterford, in your opinion?
Strengths, I think, is definitely down to the management. There appears to be a good ethos at the club. That Kevin Sheedy and Mike Newell are not here for a paycheck. They're here because they have a plan and they want to see that in the team. And even though the performances have been disjointed, you can see flashes of what they're trying to get done. And when it comes together, it is very good to see that they're keeping the ball on the ground, passing it around. And when you do that, like, it works. Like, you play attractive football. I think you get results, and I think that if they can work a miracle with the squad that they have, that it'll be not only will it be good for results, like, but you'll keep interest in the club, because that's so important, especially when there's no fans at the games. Like, you want to keep people interested. So weaknesses, though, I think the biggest weakness would be scoring goals. They create a lot of chances with the style of play that I've mentioned, but they don't really seem to finish a lot of them. And this has been a recurring problem. I'm watching now. I'm going back to Wexford now because that's the most recent game in my mind. But they created a lot of chances. They hit the post, I think, 3 times. So hopefully that'll improve. As Cian Kavanagh, Prince Mutswanguma hit the post a few times. Young players, I hope they'll improve with the goal scoring, but it's not just them. It's been a recurring problem for the whole team. So hopefully we'll find our form in front of goal.
Yeah, Oisin, a Harps fan once told me that Ollie Horgan was their strength and Ollie Horgan was their weakness.
That's a good a good way of looking at it.
What do you think of that?
Well, you could say that, but no, I think Ollie works wonders. He really does. No, I'm a big fan of Ollie. And the budget he's working on. I mean, he doesn't get enough praise for it, to be honest. Yeah, but he's been there now, nearly 8 seasons, and I don't know if we were to get rid of Ollie. I don't know who we'd bring in. It's just he's a great character, and I think he gets the most out of the players. And that's it. Like him and Higgsy, you hear them on the sideline, and say they're 10 times louder in the dressing room. They really, I'd say they really they inspire the players to work harder. And it works. It works, and it keeps Harps. Well, it kept Harps in the Premier Division, and the playoffs as well. The playoff, what would you call them? Playoff kings at this stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the big fan of Ollie, and yeah, no, I would never criticize Ollie. Big fan of him. I think he
to think where Finn Harps were as well before he took over as well. He's really developed the club as well, hasn't he? The standard of player now.
Yeah, the first division, playing against Cove and Cabin Teeley, all the freaking Sawtell Devon, they were around at that time, and it's just it's the club is it's on the rise, you could say. This season I feel we can try get it established Premier Division club, and don't even be talking about the division playoff or the promotion playoff last year, or coming up in the season. Like
that's
next week,
that's the next step, isn't it? Really,
I think just establish the team. And don't even, if you're going into next season, don't even be chatting saying Hearts will be down there. You'd say, Hearts will be a 5th or 6th, place team. Not challenged from Europe, but not challenging or not down near the bottom. That's what you'd hope anyway.
Sean, what's success this season for Waterford in your eyes?
Success this season, I think, would be to be the most optimistic I can be. Would be to if you get they're away to Drogheda in the first game, and I think we would have said the same thing, that they would have been fighting to stay up last season, but they got lucky. They got a good result against Pats, and that set the tone for the season, I think. So if you can get one good result, maybe that changes the fortunes of the club. Maybe you fight till you're, a mid-table team, you're safe with a few games to go, and you go on a good cup run. I think that would be a successful season in my eyes.
Were you a little bit more optimistic, let's say, at the start of last season, though, with the players they brought in? Or
I was in some sense, but there was different things. I was happier with the players they brought in, I suppose, but they didn't bring in many of them. I remember they brought in 2 centre backs that were starting in that game on the day that they were to play against Pats. So it was really it was a real kind of building the plane while it's flying kind of a thing.
Yeah, you needed Brian Murphy that day. I remember very well. He was very good, to be fair.
He was outstanding.
Oisin, what's success for Finn Harps? I know we've kind of touched on it there, but realistically, where's the highest they can finish in the league, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, as most people know, Ollie Horgan was up there every season, and he says, we'll take 9th place, happy days,
He's a bluffer. He's a bluffer.
Yeah, exactly.
He keeps the players well grounded.
Playing mind games. And no, this year I would like to see them kind of push up the table. In my eyes, I kind of think maybe 6th, 7th, maybe even 5th, who knows. No, definitely more promising, coming into this season. He built that kind of team there now. Kept the core, as said already, kept the core of last season's team, and he's added a few, like I'd say, maybe 8 or 9 out of them, say, starting squad have either won a league or they've won an FAI Cup, So the kind of experience is there. You like Dave Webster and all, and, Mark Russell came from Scotland, played in Scotland. I mean, I would like to think either maybe I'll say 6th or 7th, and sure, if it's 8th place, I'll take 8th place. Avoid the playoff. I don't.
So it looks like Finn Harps are more optimistic than Waterford. Look, lads, thanks for coming on, and hope your club has a good season.
All right, thanks.